What's up?
Hey, all right.
You got me
Let's see.
now?
There we go. Okay, now we're good. We're gonna go horizontal.
Cool.
How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing great. Thank you for doing this with me.
Of course. Listen, I worked in media for about 7 years before this, and
Wow.
so I totally get the grind. So I'm happy to help.
Cool. What did you do for media?
So I actually worked for Major League Baseball Network. I was a video editor and producer for them. So do you know Biko Scala, the voice of the
Yeah.
Bananas? And Ivan Tranchik, he is the executive producer for PTV now. We were actually coworkers. That's actually how we met for a couple years at Major League Baseball Network. So that's what I was doing early on, and then I was working for Vice News Tonight, which is a news program. And then I've done some other things as well. I've been doing media for a long time, so now this is a big transition for me now back into baseball. So.
Yeah. That's cool. So for a kid, let's say like me, what tips would you give him to become a good media member?
Well, it's a good question. It depends what you're going for, but I definitely think it's really important to learn the ins and outs of video editing and producing. Really getting a good understanding of what it takes to make a video and also to put it together, all the different components, whether it's audio, lighting, shooting it, putting a script together. And I've used Adobe Premiere for my whole career, and I think it's a great software. But there's other good softwares as well. I definitely, whichever software you choose to learn and use, really dive into it and learn the ins and outs of it because it'll help you a lot. Um, One thing I tell people a lot is when it comes to video editing, it's hard to learn without making mistakes. So you're going to make a lot of mistakes, but that's how you're going to learn how to do things, right? It's trial and error. So just stick with it. It takes some time and practice, but you'll get it.
Cool. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we have an interview with Jimmy Strings. I also noticed on Instagram that your real name is James Tom Tooby. Sorry, Tommy. How do you say it?
Tobble.
Tomo, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want me to call you Jimmy Strings or James Tomo in this?
You can call me Jimmy Strings. It's a funny thing. My real name is James Tauble, but as I started with Banana Ball this year, I figured I kind of wanted to go with something a little different. So,
Cool,
I'm pushing the Jimmy Strings thing, but either one, James or Jimmy, it's cool.
cool. Could you please tell me about your role with the Tailgaters for this upcoming season?
Yes, so I am going to be the one of the pitchers on the team. I don't know if I'll be a starter or a reliever. We'll be finding that out probably next month or so. Either way, I'm happy to be here and be pitching. But I'm also going to be the violinist in the band. So I'm going to be playing with Jason Arndt and the rest of the guys in the Tailgater band, and we'll be playing before and after shows, good old country music. So I'll be playing violin, I'll be singing a bit, and doing some keys, pianos for it as well. So I'll be wearing many hats, but
Yeah,
I am very excited.
that's cool. Yeah, I also play baseball and I play the tuba, so I get that music
Hey,
side.
there we go. Yeah, tuba's cool, man. Wind instruments, love it.
Yeah, it's so big too, though. It doesn't look that big until you start like holding it.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's a big, very large instrument. It looks heavier than it is, but it's
Yeah,
definitely it's a fun instrument to play though. I feel like not many people play the tuba, so uh, good for you.
thank you. Have you always played the violin?
No, actually. So I grew up a violist. I was so little backstory on me. I come from a family of 7 kids,
Oh wow.
and I have a twin brother, and we're the youngest. And so we actually were in a family band for like 15 years. So all of my older siblings, I have 3 sisters, and they're all like world class classical musicians. So we were kind of born into the family band, and we also, it's my twin brother had a sister that was kind of like his second mom, and I had a sister who was my second mom, and my sister who I was a little bit closer with at a young, very young age, she played the viola, so I kind of picked up the viola from her, and then my brother picked up the violin. So between all of us, one of my sisters a harpist, one is a
Wow.
cellist, one's a violinist, another one's a violist. I'm a violist, but I'm also a violinist now. And we have yeah, so a bunch of instruments. Growing up in the family, definitely music was a big part of it. So I've been playing the violin now for probably 15 years, but I played the viola before that, and it's a pretty simple transition from one to the other.
Yeah, the music side is cool because I was also born into a family with a ton of musicians. My sister plays the trumpet, my brother plays the tuba like me, and then my dad plays the trumpet as well, and my mom plays the
Nice.
clarinet.
Yeah, a lot of wind instruments, a lot
Yeah.
of horns.
How old were you when you started playing baseball?
I was about 3 years old when I started playing. My dad played college baseball at a D3 school in Connecticut, so baseball really, and he started. He was a huge baseball fan. He's my baseball coach growing up, and so we were playing wiffle ball in the backyard as long as I can remember. My brothers and I. So really, about 3 years old is when I picked up a ball for the first time. But yeah, I mean, pretty much since then. I mean, I took a lot of time off after college. I played at Sacred Heart University in Connecticut, which is a small Division I school. And I went out for tryouts and things after college, but then it wasn't really. It was I could have probably gone and played indie ball if I kept trying, but I figured it was time to move on with my life, and so I stopped playing baseball for about 5 or 6 years until this previous year. I picked it up again, and then let one thing leads to another, and here I am in Banana Land. So
Cool. Once you took that break after college, did you think you were done playing?
100%, yeah.
Cool.
I didn't think that I was ever gonna play. I mean, I believed that I would play organized baseball again just because I love the game so much, and I felt like I had some more in the tank. I never thought I would be playing professional baseball. This has been a wonderful surprise for me in my life, and I'm just really happy to be here. But yeah, definitely did not think I'd be. I thought I'd hung the cleats up for pretty much for good. So.
That's crazy. How excited are you for your next chapter with the Tailgaters?
Extremely excited. Yeah, this is a bit of a roller coaster ride we're going to be going on this year. I mean, it was actually a kind of a tough decision to be honest because I had built my career in media, and I'd gotten to a point where I was managing people and I was making a really good salary with benefits, and it's a nice cushy job, which is really a big goal for a lot of people that work in media. And I'd made it right. At least it felt like it to me, and then this thing came up, and I had to really think about it, to be honest, because, I was going to be taking a pay cut, and it just was kind of an uncertain thing. But what one person that's very close to me said to me, they said, sometimes you have to think with your head, and sometimes you got to think with your heart. And in this instance, I couldn't not do it. I mean, I had to think with my heart because, I've been playing music my whole life and performing music my whole life. And I've been playing baseball pretty much for my whole life. So when I put it into perspective like that, it was a pretty easy decision.
Cool. What do you think makes you a good fit for Banana Ball?
Well, just like I've said, I've been performing and been on stage and playing music or baseball in front of people for pretty much my whole life. One thing I didn't mention about my family was that we actually were on America's Got Talent
Oh,
in
really?
2008. Yeah, season
Wow.
3, I think. It was so long ago that Jerry Springer was the host. David Hasselhoff was one of the judges. Sharon Osbourne, Piers Morgan. So it was very early on in America's Got Talent, but we made it all the way to the top 20. So we were finalists on the show. So we were doing that for pretty much a whole year. And I think one episode we had like 35 million people watching. So anyway, point is that from a young age I've been very used to a lot of people watching, right?
Yeah.
And performing in front of large crowds. So with that being said, I'm pretty comfortable doing things that a lot of people that play baseball might be a little uncomfortable in regards to the music side or the performance side of it, and dancing and whatnot. So I'm very excited to be playing in front of big crowds, and being able to offer what pretty much my whole life I've built up to this point.
Cool. So with being on America's Got Talent and being used to informing, like playing in front of people, do you think it will make you less nervous while going out and playing in front of thousands of people?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think, from the music side, yes, 100%. I'm very comfortable playing the violin in front of however many people. I'm very confident in my violin ability. And I play by ear a lot, so a lot of the music will just be jamming out, and I'm really really excited about that. But for the baseball side, it's a little different. It's a completely different arena, and now we're putting those two things together, which is again is really exciting, but it's definitely it's different. But in college, I did get to play on ESPN. There was a game where I pitched against LSU, and that was on ESPN, and so a lot of people were watching that. And I played in the Cape Cod League in college. And so I definitely got the opportunity to play in front of some really big crowds, nothing like what we're going to be playing in front of this season, but
Yeah,
still I think that did allow me to have that experience of like what it took to be able to compete at a high level when there's a lot of people watching. So for the music side, absolutely, the America's Got Talent thing definitely helped, but I think for the baseball side of it and the confidence it takes to be able to compete and play well, that was definitely more of a Division 1 baseball experience for me.
cool. Your start against LSU on ESPN, how did that go?
It went pretty well until it didn't. In college, I was throwing anywhere from like 84 to 86, so I wasn't really throwing that hard for Division 1 at least. And LSU, these guys face 93, 94 like every weekend. So, I was nervous about that. But one thing that I was always very good at was locating. Anybody that asks me about like what does it take to pitch at a high level, and I'm like, velocity is important, but location is the most important thing. So being able to throw the ball where it needs to go and being smart with where you throw it and what pitches you throw, that's more important in my mind than necessarily just being able to throw the ball really hard. So anyway, point is I did well. I ended up going 4 innings scoreless,
Wow.
and then in the fifth inning, we had two quick outs, and then our left fielder dropped a fly ball, and they actually ruled it a hit, which I was
Oh,
very
wow.
disappointed about because it was pretty obviously an error and it was kind of like a home scorer advantage for them. So they actually called it a hit, and then a few runs scored, and I got taken out, and then it kind of fell apart from there. But we were tied 0-0, and out away from going to the sixth. So I did pretty well.
That's sick. Yeah, that's a thing, because like some guys in the majors throw like 100, but they can't locate, and
Yeah.
they do better than some guys that throw 92 that paint them on the corner.
Yeah, when growing up, I mean, my dad would always tell me to pitch like Tom Glavine.
Yeah.
He was a lefty that topped like 90.
Yeah.
But him and Greg Maddux, those two guys for the Braves at that time, and the Mets for Glavine. But he was both those guys. They didn't throw that hard, but they located and their balls moved a lot. And that I mean, they're Hall of Fame pitchers, right? So that was always kind of my goal was to be like them. Just knowing that I wasn't going to be ever be able to touch like 92 or 90 even. So, but yeah, location is everything, man, and that was my strong suit for sure.
Yeah, the Braves rotation back then was nasty.
Unreal, yeah. Smoltz too, and that I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah. Being a big music fan and being able to play the violin, what are you better at, playing the violin or baseball?
That is a really good question. It's if I was to compare myself to a classical violinist, I wouldn't be. I don't think I would be that great.
Really?
My strength with the violin is that I have a really good ear. So I can jump into a band setting and hear the music and then just play along to it. Whereas if you hand me sheet music right now and I got to play Beethoven or something, it would take me some time to practice it and play it. So it depends what type of violin. If we're talking about just like fiddle violin, right? Which a lot of people, by the way, don't know the difference of a violin is a violin. A fiddle is how you play the violin. So if you're a fiddle player, you're still playing the same instrument. The instrument is the violin. Anyway, so if I was to jump into, a fiddle session, right, with different violinists, bluegrass or country, I think I'd be able to hold my own. But um uh I think it's pretty unique being a violinist and also being able to play baseball. So I think those two things do set me apart. But each on its own, I think I'm pretty even, I'd say.
Cool. What are you most excited for, playing the violin or playing for the Tailgaters?
Man, you're asking some really tough questions.
Thank you.
I think, um, yeah, it's like pitching in front of these crowds is going to be crazy. But I think I'm going to be more comfortable playing the violin in front of the big crowds. So probably playing the violin, but it's close. I'm very very excited to be able to pitch in some of these big league stadiums and these minor league stadiums even that we're going to be going to.
Cool. Speaking of big league stadiums, which stadium are you most excited to pitch in?
Probably Philly. I grew up in Connecticut, so that's the closest stadium that we're going to be playing at. So I'm going to have a lot of people coming out to that one. But
Cool.
I've been to a Phillies game, and it is a beautiful stadium, beautiful.
It
So
looks so cool.
um, yeah, and the Bananas went there last year, and they sold it out, and it looked amazing. So I'm really excited. I'm excited for all of them. Obviously, we're going to have an amazing time, and whether it's Pittsburgh or Cincinnati or Houston or Philly, it's going to be awesome. But probably Philly, most excited about.
Cool. Uh, what goes into the type of music you write?
So I am not great at writing lyrics. I've always struggled with writing good lyrics. My strong suit is probably more in regards to writing the chord progressions and like the meat and bones of the song, the melodies. Um, but it's really, I feel like I've had influences from everything from classical to you can say the Beatles, Coldplay, John Mayer, Muse. I have a very wide variety of music interests that I like to listen to, hip hop. So
Cool.
it really depends. But it's I guess the music that I like to contribute to is typically in the form of music that I like to listen to in a way.
Cool. So on the Tailgaters, you have Jason Arnett, and on the Bananas, you have Dalton Malden. Do you want to do a collab with them at some point for music?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that. Yeah, I was actually talking to Dalton last night. We're gonna try to do some collabs on social media, and maybe at a game sometime too, potentially. But Jason and I obviously we're gonna be very close this season, and we've been rehearsing already with the band, and we're getting to know each other really well. And he's awesome. Jason's great. I've seen a lot of Dalton. I've only been able to interact with him a few times since I've been here, but he's an awesome guy. So extremely friendly, makes you feel very comfortable, which I appreciate being a newbie here. But yeah, hopefully that is the plan that we're going to be doing some collabs together on socials.
Cool. So out of the three, who is the best musician?
Oh man, I think it depends what you determine being a great musician is. Like I probably play the most instruments out of them, but I mean these guys like they both have a huge following, and they're great singers and guitar players. So I would say they're definitely better at the guitar than I am for sure. And Jason especially is an amazing performer. He captivates the crowd when he's out there, and you'll see when if you're able to make it out to a game or watch online, he is an amazing performer and he's got a great voice. So it's hard to say. I think if we're just basing it on how many instruments we play, I play more than the other guys do.
Cool. So being on the Tailgaters, what makes a good tailgate celebration?
You mean like an actual tailgate?
Yeah.
I think you got to have cornhole. There's got to be a grill. There's got to be beverages, whether it's beer or soda or whatever it is. You're drinking something. And what you got on the grill is important as well. I think some good music doesn't have to be country music, but country music I've experienced is I think the best tailgate music.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say that those are probably the essentials.
Cool. Which player on the Tailgaters would cook the best pregame tailgate meal?
Jordan Hussein. Yeah, he's chefed up some stuff for us already, and he knows what he's doing on the grill.
Cool. What has he cooked?
So he actually he had some deer sausage, which I'd never had before. Jordan's a bit is a Texas boy. He loves to go hunting, and he likes to eat what he hunts. And so he had us try some of his deer sausage, and my goodness, it was so good. I was a little nervous because I've never gone hunting before, and I've
Yeah.
never had deer. So I was a little skeptical, but it was very, very good. So I think at this point he's got my vote.
That deer sausage sounds good. I've never had it though.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Which player are you most excited to play against in Banana Bowl?
It's a great question. I am a huge Coach Rack fan, so I'm very excited to play against Coach Rack.
Coach Jack's awesome. I love him.
He is, and he's an even better person. Let me tell you, been fortunate to meet him at this point, and he is as friendly as he seems. He is the man. Yeah.
Cool. If you ever like strike him out or like get him out, are you gonna tell him Rack taught me?
Yeah, I don't know. Now you got me thinking though. I don't know. Maybe.
That'd
Hey,
be
hey,
fun.
Jimmy Strings, how'd you strike me out? Well, you taught me, Rack.
Yeah, Rack taught me.
Yeah.
Uh, as a pitcher, which hitter are you most excited to strike out?
Not, I was thinking about this. Probably South Tremble because he's my boy, and I think it'd just be kind of fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not always the best hitters. It's your friends that you want to get out the most,
Totally.
because
Yeah.
then you have bragging rights over them.
100%. Yeah.
Do you have any trick plays you've been practicing in spring training?
Yeah, I've been dabbling. It's interesting. As a pitcher, the trick plays are a little bit different, right? I mean, I am 100% focused on pitching quick and throwing strikes, right? That is my MO for sure. If I'm able to get a trick play in there, I will. But yeah, I've been working on some stuff. I mean, anybody who comes to Banana Land, man, it's like there nobody you don't do trick plays in regular baseball, so it's
Yeah,
new. This is completely new. But
Alexis out.
I I've anybody who comes to Banana Land, it's completely new, the trick play thing. So with that being said, I've been watching a lot of guys and what they're doing, and I'm trying to implement it. It's really hard. It's very hard what they do. So definitely a lot of respect out to the guys who are able to do some trick plays. But yeah, I got some things in the works. We'll see if I'm able to whip it out and, you know, execute.
Cool. Do you have a goal for trick plays you want to reach, like the amount?
I mean, I think, I think if I could do 10 this season, that'd be awesome. I think that's a pretty high goal.
It's tough as a
Um,
pitcher, though.
yeah, it's pitchers don't typically get a lot of trick plays because the ball doesn't necessarily come back to the pitcher that much. But there's also trick pitches, which we're going to be implementing a lot more, especially next season when the league starts. But yeah, trick pitches for sure. I'm hopefully going to try. I think 10 trick pitches is probably a better goal to hit.
Cool. If you could play any other position, what position would it be?
As a lefty, I don't have too many options, but probably first base. I'm not very tall, so I'm about 5'10" with shoes on, so I'm not going to be the tallest first baseman by any means. But with that being said, I did play first base growing up, and I always thought it was an awesome, awesome position. So probably first base.
Cool. I saw a lefty shortstop for the first time the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd he do?
What did you say? Sorry.
How did he do?
He was okay. He missed a couple forehands that a regular righty shortstop would get, but he did pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, he's got to carry the lefty thing with pride.
Yep. If you could steal one teammate or banana ball player's trick play, what trick play would it be?
Probably, so many guys are just so good at trick plays, but Ryan Cox he's an absolute.
Easy.
They don't call him the glove magician for no reason. He's a beast. But there's one where he fields the ball and then he bounces it behind his back and then he dribbles it essentially with his glove and then barehands it. I've been working on that and it is so hard. I would love to be able to do it. So that's probably one that I'm going to keep trying to learn and see if I can get it.
Yeah, with his like between the legs and stuff, it seems like he could probably play in the NBA.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Uh, if you could get one MLB player to join the Tailgaters, who would it be?
I was thinking about this and it's a tough one. My first thought was like Tatis. I feel like Tatis would be very, very fun. He's
He's
got
so
great
cute with
energy.
banana ball.
Like he's got so much swag. It's crazy. But somebody like Bobby Witt Jr. as well. He's a Texas boy, and I think he'd fit
Yeah,
in really well on the tailgaters.
yeah, Bobby Witt would be perfect. He's fast, electric, and if
Yeah.
you give him a week, he could probably rack up some cool tricks.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So now we're gonna do some rapid fire questions if you're down.
Sure.
How many unread text messages do you have?
Um, I have probably I think text messages probably like 40.
Not too bad. I've heard worse.
Yeah, not too bad. It's gotten worse, but some of them are group chats, so I can just kind of click on it and be like, okay, I missed it. All right, whatever, I'm moving on. But yeah, I think I have probably 30 or 40 on read messages.
Yeah, the group chats get you because when you're on a group chat with your friends, sometimes they're up at like 2 in the morning when you're
Yeah.
asleep. Who is the funniest teammate?
Mac Danford. He's hilarious.
Cool. Is he like, does he pick his spots or is he always just making people laugh?
He is unapologetically himself, and I love it. And he is, yeah, he's just a very naturally funny person. And he's also a beast. We had a scrimmage this past Tuesday um, against firefighters, and he hit a ball that is still, I think, in flight. So he's pretty good. Yeah.
What is the worst place to take a girl on the first date?
Um, I was gonna say like McDonald's, but you know what? You can't hate the game. You shouldn't. If you're taking somebody out and and you can only afford so much, good for you. It's about
Yeah.
the effort. I'm thinking probably maybe like let's say she doesn't play golf and you do, taking her to the driving
Oh,
range. I feel like that's just kind of not gonna be good for you. It's almost like you're showing off. It's like, ooh, look what I can do. I'm gonna hit the ball. You can't do it, but I can do it. And it's just I
yeah.
don't know. It's like that'd be kind of an awkward place to take a girl.
What is your favorite movie?
It's a really hard question because I'm a big movie guy. I have a list of movies that I would consider my favorites, but some of them would be probably Schindler's List, Parasite, 1917, Interstellar, The Dark Knight. I love Inglorious Bastards. I think it is amazing, fantastic movie. Yeah, I mean, I got a long list of movies I love. I love. It's hard to pick one.
Cool. So you're a big movie guy.
Love movies. Yeah.
Cool. So at a pregame cookout, one food item represents your team for the day. What item is it?
If one item represents our team, I do love pork sausage. So I feel like if we're at a cookout, you got to have some pork sausage. If you're going to a barbecue though, it's got to be brisket. Brisket is like my favorite barbecue meat. But if it's like a quick cook tailgate type situation, I think a pork sausage.
That sounds good. That's all the
Yeah.
questions I have for you. Do you got anything for me?
Yeah, I mean, how long have you been doing this?
Actually, about a year now. Uh,
Awesome.
April 9th was my first day I did my first interview.
That's great, man. Yeah, stick with it. You're great. You got great questions, and I love the grind. I think you definitely have a great future ahead of you. Just got to stick with it.
Thank you.
Have you are you planning on interviewing anybody else on Tailgaters?
A lot of people actually.
Nice,
Oh,
awesome.
do you want me to read out the list of names?
Sure, yeah.
Alright, sorry, I gotta go in his Instagram real quick. Jonathan Lords. I said that really
Looters, he is the best. You are gonna love Jonathan. He is the man.
bet. Who else do I have? Uh,
Funny story about Jonathan Looters. He was at the Philadelphia tryout with me, so he was actually the first person I spoke to. We were the first two guys at the field, and I was like, "This might be the nicest guy I've ever met in my entire life." And
cool.
he brought his unicycle, so
Yeah,
he's
crazy.
awesome. But I right before I went out to pitch, I actually ran out to the mound with my violin, and um, when I was warming up in the bullpen, my leg started to cramp
Oh,
and it was really hot out. I was dehydrated. We had been running around in the outfield during batting practice, and I just overdid it. And I was panicking because I'm typically like 84, 85 miles an hour is my velocity. In the bullpen, I was throwing like 80
yeah.
because I couldn't push off my leg because I was cramping. And I was drinking water, I was stretching, and I was doing all these things, and it wasn't working. And I went into the dugout, and he's like, "Hey, how are you feeling?" And I told him, I was like, "Man, my leg's cramping. This is terrible." And he's like, "Hold on, I got something for you." And he runs over and he grabs a bottle of water that he had brought that had salt in it, which I guess helps cramps. And he's like, "Drink this, drink it." And so I drank it, and immediately the cramp was gone. I went out and I pitched really well, and I was able to do my thing. And I definitely credit him to my having a good tryout. If it wasn't for him, it might have gone a different way.
That's cool. What a cool dude.
Yeah, he's a man.
So I got him, and then I got Rodrigo Sanchez.
Yep, he's the drummer in our band.
Oh,
He's
cool.
good, great guy.
Brett Carson.
Yeah, Brett, awesome.
Uh, Nicholas Lopez.
My roommate, awesome.
Cool. That's sick.
Yeah.
Uh, Cole Kitchen.
Cole, yeah, he is a character, man. You're gonna love interviewing him. He's the best.
John Reed.
John Reed, yep, California boy.
Andrew Bartman.
Yep. Bart. Yeah, he's one of
Uh,
our coaches.
Joe Sabrino, I think is how you say it.
Barone. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was at the Philly. He was actually at the Philly tryout as well. So
that's
I got to
cool.
get to know him a little bit as well before we all got to Savannah.
Uh, Jimmy Lewis.
Yep, Jimmy, Texas. He's actually from Texas, Austin.
Well,
So
that's
he's
cool.
yeah,
That's good to know then.
he's really excited to get down to Texas and play.
Christian Davis.
Yep. He's my locker buddy. He's a
That's
great guy.
cool. Uh, Travis Moon Moite.
Munio,
Yeah,
Travis, yeah, he is a awesome DJ and musician, and you guys will talk about that, but he's the best. Travis is.
cool. Brandon Pettigott.
Pennington, he's our pitching
Oh yeah,
coach. Yeah,
that's sick. Colin.
man, you got like the whole team, man.
Yeah, I
Jeez,
got pretty much the whole team, and then I got pretty much the whole firefighters team.
that is so cool, man. I love that for you.
And then my last one is Colin Stone.
Yeah, Colin is awesome. His brother actually is a pitcher for the Dodgers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Gavin Stone. Yeah, he's a beast. I think he was an all-star last year. His brother was. But he's also a blitzball beast. I don't know if you ever played blitzball, but it's crazy, and he's nasty at it. So
Blitzball is so fun, but so difficult.
yeah, Colin is he. I think he won the Cy Young of the blitzball league last year. Like he's legit.
I
Yeah,
didn't know they had a legit Blitzball league.
yeah. It's the John Boy guys that do it. So I don't know if you ever watched John Boy, but they like kind of run the league. It seems like, and it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, John Boy is actually the guy that got me into interviewing people.
Really.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna love interviewing Colin.
cool. That's all I got for you. Do you got anything else for me?
No, man, I listen. Keep going. Enjoy the grind, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this. Getting this interview and seeing how it does, and how just seeing you develop as well as I watch the other guys' interviews. This could be on your YouTube channel, I'm guessing.
Yeah, my YouTube, and then I'll post like an appreciation to Instagram and TikTok.
Awesome. Yeah, man, sounds great. Yeah, keep doing it. Thanks for having me, and yeah, good luck with the rest of your interviews.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. Thank you for sitting down with me.
Of course, and if you're ever if you're ever planning to come to any games, let us know. We'd love to come say hey.
Cool. Yeah, have a great season.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
You too.